Ark has really become a mainstay here on my channel, and I know that many of you tune in for a different style of Ark coverage. And so, when I published a video over the weekend outlining the financials of Ark's publisher, Snail Games, well, let's just say it came off kind of jumbled and a bit confusing. What's going on, everybody? It's LtBuzzLitebeer, and welcome back to the channel. So today, we're going to try to revisit a topic I started in the video a few days ago. I'm going to try to give it another go, as well as try to correct some of the misinformation I saw in the comment section. And, oh, by the way, this is all unscripted, which seems to be the format you ladies and gentlemen prefer. Remember to hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell to receive those upload alerts. Chapters are up and in place, so you can repeat sections in case you missed something. And here we go again into the land of Ark.
System of failure.
Okay, so yeah, Saturday's video was this mashup of covering Wildcard's community update, some general Snail Games news, and a few other odds and ends. But today, we're just going to stay laser focused in on this one subject: money. Well, money, sales numbers, and Ark Ascended. Now, flashback to the basics of the discussion. Number one, I was concerned over not seeing anything further reported on Ascended sales ever since Snail Games published this announcement, boasting about over 600,000 copies sold in the first 10 days. But since then, we've seen bupkis. Now, number two, I had seen a recent report by VG Insights outlining the top 10 games by revenue for Steam 2023. Damn, that's a lot to say in one breath. And I reached out to them for assistance with Ascended, which was not on their list. And number three, to my surprise, they responded and fired over a wealth of information based on their internal reports, data, and formulas for collecting those sales figures. From there, I tried to lay out a basic plan on how to put together the total sales profits for Ascended using a Snail Games presentation graph, which showed their own reports as to the ratios of PC and console sales being a nearly 1-to-1 ratio, meaning if I could get pretty fucking close to the Steam PC sales numbers, it should double when you add in the console sales. Oh, and by the way, VG Insights saw my first video, sent me an email confirming that my theories made sense, and then liked the tweet I posted where I mentioned them and what I had done, which should silence those doubters that said I just made this all up. But where I just veered way off the racing line was in trying to explain how it all interconnected. You know what I mean? What it all meant and what I thought it could mean for the future of Ark Ascended, and also in general Ark. And before I lose anyone out there, in case I haven't already, I want you to know I don't want Ark to fail. It's a unique dino survival sandbox experience, and we need more good games in our gaming libraries. But where I start to disconnect with Ark is with its management, or should I say mismanagement. And let's just move on from there, because this could easily devolve into a tirade over Snail Games and Studio Wildcard. All right, back to it. Again, we need to stay laser focused. This is the Excel document VG Insights sent me, outlining a bunch of internal data they had compiled on Ark Survival Ascended. I mean, you could go cross-eyed staring at this all day. That's what she said. Haha. But the only number we want is in column E, total sales profits, taking into account refunds. And by the way, that reads $42,327,748 buckaroos, and that's before Steam takes its cut for selling on the platform. Now, since their profits are currently less than $50 million, Steam's tiered payouts should take a 25% cut from there before sending the remainder over to Snail Games. Good God. And by the way, that tiered percentage should drop down to 20% once they cross the 50 mil barrier. Anyways, 42.3 mil minus 25%, which is roughly $10.6 million to Steam. God, that's a great racket. Equals $31,745,811 after refunds and after Steam. And by the way, that's only for PC sales, excluding Microsoft Store, which I have no freaking idea about, but I'm thinking not very much over there. don't worry, the heavy mental lifting is now over because Snail Games actually did the rest of the work for us. According to their own reports from this internal document, they said that their revenue mix is split evenly between PC and console sales, along with a very small slice for mobile, which I don't think is going to be as good in 2023 as it was in 2022. Anyways, if the chart says 1-to-1 between PC and console, and we know it was just shy of 32 million for PC sales, then all we have to do is multiply times 2. 63,491,622 bucks, which by the way is a lot to say. So let's just call it $63.5 million in revenue across current Ascended sales. In theory, and remember, I'm just piecing this all together, but the logic is sound. Now, bear with me because from here is where the misinformation started coming in, and I'm not going to spell them all out right now, but hopefully this is going to break it all down on an easy to understand level. Console platforms also take a third-party processing fee, just like Steam does, which is somewhere between 25 to 30%. But since I had already taken it out of the Steam number before doubling it, well, it was already factored in. There's also that Nitrado $4 million loan repayment issue, which is paid back based on 20% of profit assumptions, interest-free. And if Snail truly made the $63.5 million between Steam and console sales, then that Nitrado repayment has been paid in full. But who knows? This is Snail we're talking about, so it could still be outstanding debt. I had also factored in 55 devs at Wildcard, making on average $120,000 a year. So you've got a $6.6 million salary bill upcoming for 2024 that will need to be paid from those profits. And, we could go on and on about all the extras that need to be added to the charts. From here, I just started filling in the blanks with publicly available information if you start combing through Snail's past financial reports. I mean, it's all there if you take the time to find it. Number one, as of September 30th, 2023, Snail had negative cash flows of $13.2 million, a net loss of $11.5 million, and their debt load was sitting at $13.7 million. By the way, that's USD. So overall, not good, and this was prior to Ark Survival Ascended going on sale. Number two, based on my projections for Ark Survival Ascended sales, built off of VG Insight's internal data, the projection sits at roughly $63.5 million for Ascended sales. And remember, this is completely front-loaded. You buy it once, you get all the maps, which is different from the past when they sold Evolved. Number three, and this is really important information here, according to Snail's 2022 filings, the total revenue for that year, so this is last year, was $74.4 million. And by their own admission, Ark accounts for over 90% of their income. So as Ark goes, so does Snail, that sort of thing. But here's where in the last video I just completely fell apart and omitted what I was trying to get across in that video. Snail nets $74.4 million in 2022 and they fall behind, making stupid agreements with Nitrado for exclusive server hosting rights, about that one, $4 million. Plus there are multiple others that I could list out that yes, did give Snail some short-term financing, but it's going to come due soon and it's all going to have interest tacked on top of it. So again, $74.4 million reported on their financials for 2022, and they couldn't make it work. They had to beg, borrow, and steal from everywhere just to get through 2023, landing them, as of September 2023, $13.7 million in debt. And then along comes Ark Ascended, that fabled free upgrade that then turned into an Ascended Ark 2 bundle. Yeah, remember that one? And then it morphed further into just Ascended. And again, according to Snail Games, Ark accounts for over 90% of their revenue. And according to my estimations, Ascended netted them roughly $63.5 million. They are carrying $13.7 million in debt. And according to their previous reports, 2022, $74.4 million wasn't even enough to sustain the company, because at that point, and it says it in their financial reports, they were actively searching for more loan sources and would need to renegotiate the terms of those current debts if they wanted to keep doing business. Okay, recap time. What am I trying to say here? And that's a good question, by the way. Here it all is. I don't think they sold well enough with Ark Survival Ascended. It won't be enough to fully sustain Snail Games, which again uses Ark profits to fund all of its other projects. They needed to, at least in my estimation, double those Ascended sales for all of this to work. They have some rather large debts that are on the books coming due. I mean, it just all adds up. And again, the numbers don't lie. I think that it's also the reason we haven't seen Snail Games boast about Ascended selling well ever since that first splash 10 days after it went on sale on Steam. I also think this is the reason we're seeing this all-out blitz to monetize Ascended as far as it can be pushed. Adventure packs, premium mods, the cosmetic creation system, which I will admit, Wildcard has not told us that it will or will not be a microtransaction system, but it looks and feels to be just that. When you put all your eggs into one basket, that's a huge gamble. And when it doesn't work out, it can be devastating for a studio or a publisher. Now, at least on paper, I'm not seeing how Snail Games pushes through this, especially when we saw them barely scrape by when they were starting off in a better financial position than they're currently at. And like I said, this is my theory, this is my projections and research, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And hopefully, we're going to get those Q4 financial reports in the next week to 10 days, because that will give us the unfiltered truth. As always, thanks for tuning in. I know math overload can be just that, an overload, but I find it all fascinating. Remember to hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell to receive my upload alerts. Likes, comments, shares are of course greatly appreciated. All my socials can be found in the video description. And by the way, I do stay active on Twitter and also have a full Discord server. You can get into the latest news and discussion topics through both, so just give me a follow. Thanks again to the nearly 190,000 of you that have already taken the plunge and hit subscribe, and to those of you that have not, it would really be appreciated as we make the push up to 200,000 subscribers. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer signing off.